伝説の三人ジライアもついに死すか。我らにこの秘密がなければ勝てはし。
Welcome back, my students, to a brand new episode of Comic Class. In today's lesson, guys, we're going over a discussion on if Jiraiya knew about the Six Paths of Pain's powers and abilities, would he have been able to beat Pain, in the Rain Village when they fought? Now, Pain himself had stated at the end of their fight, after Jiraiya was defeated and killed, that had Jiraiya knew about their abilities from the start, and just knew about all their secrets and abilities, I think he specifically said their secrets. If he knew their secrets, he would have won and defeated Pain. Now, a lot of people, like power scalers and just Naruto fans in general, try to rationalize this and say that Pain probably was trying to be humble and give credit to his master. Me personally, before I go into the different reasons onto why I think Jiraiya would be able to defeat Pain had he known all of his abilities and secrets, I believe that Kishimoto, as a writer, and I believe this is important, that as a writer you put certain dialogue in your story for a reason, and nothing is just put into a story just to be there. That's very important when you're analyzing a story. So with Pain stating, having this statement about him losing to Jiraiya had he known all of his secrets, this is important because it shows Pain's mindset, and at the same time could show Kishimoto's, analysis on the situation and letting us know as the readers on why exactly Naruto was able to defeat Pain is because Jiraiya, unlike Jiraiya, Naruto had all the information he needed to defeat Pain and knew about every ability the Six Paths had. And yeah, but with that out of the way, let's jump right into today's video and discussion about why I believe Jiraiya could defeat Pain in a fight. This is going to be a very controversial video. It's a very controversial take. There's been a lot of Jiraiya downplay in the power scaling community for a lot of years, but I'm here to explain my thoughts and my arguments onto why I believe Jiraiya could win this battle. Had he known all the secrets and abilities that Pain had from the start. So yeah, the first thing I want to talk about is the different paths of Pain. The Six Paths of Pain basically are the Diva path, which allows one to manipulate both attractive and repulsive forces, the Ashura path, which grants the user mechanized limbs, weaponry, and armor, the Human path, which gives the ability to remove a soul and read a person's mind, the Animal path, which lets the user summon a wide variety of creatures, the Preta path, which can absorb all forms of chakra, including most ninjutsu, the Naraka path, through which one can summon and control the King of Hell, and the Outer path, which rules over both life and death, along with the ability to manifest black chakra rods. So yeah, now that we got all of the different paths of Pain here and explained, let's go over the scenario on to why I believe Jiraiya could win. Now, Jiraiya's battle with Pain, I reread the entire fight before making this video, so I want to go over how exactly the fight went down in its original context. And there's some very important things to go over. Now, first thing we need to go over is the amount of Pains that Jiraiya actually took out. Now, Jiraiya had help, and we have to acknowledge that he had help by the two Sage Toads. But, considering that that was part of the context of the fight, in the original fight, we're going to put it here as well. Now, with the help of the two Toad Sages, Jiraiya took out 3 different Pains. And had it not been for the ability of the Naraka path and the Outer path, I believe, with them two working together, they were able to revive the other 3 Pains that had been defeated by Jiraiya. Had that not been the case, Jiraiya would have only had to fight 3 different Pains. And one thing we have to acknowledge is that Jiraiya got taken off guard and lost an arm because of this. Had Jiraiya, again, in this scenario, knowing all the abilities of Pain, would not have let his guard down and would have fought all the Pains with the mindset that he has to take out the Naraka path or the Outer path in order to stop the revival jutsu from taking place, in order to stop them from just coming back every time. So this is important. So in the original fight, Jiraiya handled the summoning, I believe it was the Animal path, which lets the user summon a wide variety of creatures. He was able to take out I believe it was like the Rhino or Bull type summoning. He took it out by using his Sage Mode. It's implied that he tanked the attack and then used the Sage Mode to basically knock the beast backwards, and then made it disappear and vanish. Into like its summoning vanishing. That happens whenever you defeat a summoning animal. So that happened with Jiraiya, and basically he used like his I think it was like his fire jutsu to basically take out the bird that was used as well. So we have two instances in the fight to where Jiraiya was able to take out these summonings pretty easily. He did have to use strategy, but one thing we never really saw was him using shadow clones throughout the fight. He used the shadow clone, I believe, to take out the bird summoning. Basically, you had to trick it and then use the fire jutsu to basically take it out and make it disappear back into its summoning. Like I said, when you beat a summoning, it basically disappears and goes off in a puff of smoke. So he basically defeated it like that. So we did get to see Jiraiya use clones for I think at least 2 times during the fight. But I believe that Jiraiya should have the ability, considering he's part of the Sonic, he should have the ability to do way more clones than just one clone at a time. So he definitely wasn't going all out with his clone jutsu that he could have been using to do different combination attacks along with the Toad Sages. So we have to keep that in mind in a battle where he knows about their abilities. He's going to use his clones a lot more. Even if it's 2 clones instead of 1, it's still going to be a massive advantage compared to having just 1 clone. So that gives you 2 different opportunities to distract and do a distraction to basically land some hits. Now, as far as the other paths, we know that the human path is basically fodder, can easily be dealt with just simple hand-to-hand in his Sage Mode, or by attacking with a different Rasengan. We have the Ashura path, which grants the user mechanized limbs, weaponry, and armor. And this one's a little bit tricky. We did see in the anime, I don't think it was in the manga, that he was dodging this path's attacks pretty easily. Even if he was struggling to dodge these, he did dodge all of them. So it's not like he was getting tagged in that situation when he was getting full-on attacked by all sits at once. In this scenario, him having the foresight to be able to know that he's fighting sits paths and that he has to take out some of them to get an advantage. The Ashura path probably will not be one of the first ones, and will definitely be easier to handle once the other ones are kind of like cut down into a smaller group of pains. So the Ashura path should be able to be defeated. We know that, I think it's the Predapath, which can absorb all forms of chakra, including most ninjutsu, can be defeated by hand-to-hand combat, as seen when Naruto one-shotted it in his Sage Mode. Jiraiya was not a perfect Sage when he fought Pain, but we did see that his ability and his strength was ridiculous when he fought against them. I believe he took out one of the Pains in one shot, similar to how Naruto did to the Predapath during his fight. So he should be able to do a similar feat when he fights them. Again, Jiraiya was not able to do this originally because he didn't know that the Predapath could absorb ninjutsu. And also he didn't know at that point during the fight that they shared vision with each other. So he wasn't doing any type of counter attack, basically to try to get hits on them that way in like a single one-to-one fight, like Naruto did, and was able to land a hit on the Predapath because of that. Again, because he had that information of knowing that all their eyes are linked. Now, we've gone through all the different paths and why Jiraiya could literally beat them. There's evidence that almost all paths, even the Deva path, which we'll get to right in a second, which is probably the most important path of pain that Jiraiya has to defeat, all the paths of pain basically can be defeated by a Rasengan. This is proven because Konohamaru, who should be only, I believe he's like a tuning level or a getting level, was able to basically one-shot a Pain with a Rasengan. That's not a very good durability feat for Pain. Getting wrecked by a Genin, who should not be that strong. Even though the Rasengan is, I believe it's like an S-class jutsu, it should not be able to be wielded by someone that's like a Genin and be one-shotting an S-class shinobi like Pain. Even if, this is another one of the fodder Pains, they should still be in the S-class, considering the Akatsuki was hyped up to be all group consisting of S-class ninja. So we have to look at that unless Pain, the Devapath Nagato, basically just wanted fodder with him and just have the Devapath be like the powerhouse, that would make no sense in the story. And all the passive Pain were kind of hyped up to be powerhouses to the normal ninja or even like high class ninja like Kakashi or other Jonins basically in the story. So all of them basically should be able to be dealt with the Rasengan. Now, jumping into the final path of Pain, which is the most important, the one that most people believe Jiraiya could not defeat, is the Deva path, which allows one to manipulate both attractive and repulsive forces, which is the Universal Pull and also the Almighty Push, which are their English translation names I'm going to be using. And yeah, so as far as Universal Pull is very dangerous, but this can be countered with Clone Jutsu. Can also be countered by Jiraiya using summonings to basically, use a summoning to get himself out of the way of, put something in front of him to get pulled in instead of him. We've seen summonings used interesting ways with Sasuke to assume that Jiraiya, who's a Sannin and has decades upon experience, cannot do a similar situation to use his summonings to gain an advantage to survive in a situation like that is just crazy, and it's a very real possibility. Something like that could happen. And like I said, he could use clones like Kakashi did when he used the lightning clone to trick Pain to think he killed him. When he used the Oshirpat to basically like try to stab him through, and he like stabbed him through with like that buzzsaw looking thing, So after that, when it comes to its universal pull, that should not be a factor in being a win condition for the Deva path. We have the Almighty Push. Now, the Almighty Push, there's two ways you can look at this. You can say Jiraiya was there when Pain basically did the Almighty Push that destroyed Konoha. That should be like an island level feat of damage and destruction. So, I'm not sure if Jiraiya could taint that. He probably couldn't, but we do know that just like Sasuke and how he reverse summoned himself with Manda, Jiraiya could definitely do something similar with his frauds, as we saw something similar in his fight with Pain, and that he escaped Pain for a bit and trapped one of the Pains and basically one-shotted it with a Rasengan. So yeah, so that's why you could escape that, but in reality, that's not really going to be a factor, as we're talking about putting Jiraiya in the battle that Naruto was in, so that would be after Pain did that feat, and it would basically be the same fight Naruto had, but with Jiraiya instead, and how he would do in that fight, in that scenario, in that battle. So, the Devon Path, now, looking at the final aspect of the Almighty Push, we have the fact that he can do it every 5 seconds. Jiraiya is fast. Like I said, Naruto basically was able to out-trick Pain in that he used his clones. He used an overabundance of clones to basically taint the Almighty Push, and then he was able to hit and tag Pain because he was so out of chakra. Now, we have to remember with Pain, when we're looking at, I'm looking at the manga version of these characters. In the manga, Pain did not fight Six Tails Naruto like he did in the anime. He mainly didn't even do anything, and he had to resort to using Planetary Devastation. He used Planetary Devastation to basically trap Naruto. Planetary Devastation is a very deadly ability, and if Pain were to, get that off, he probably would defeat Jiraiya. But we learned from Itachi in the War Arc that the Planetary Devastation basically can be disrupted if you destroy the core of the gravity that's pulling everything together. So we do know that Gamabunta does have projectiles, so we could say that he might be able to disrupt the gravity that's happening inside. Naruto was able to do this with the help of Itachi and Killer Bee, but we don't know the exact result. Like, we don't know how much power is actually required to disrupt the force. Like I said, it's different with Naruto, Itachi, and Killer Bee, because they had no way to reverse summon. And even if Naruto did have that type of ability, he wouldn't really think of that. He's not that type of fighter. Jiraiya is. So he, in the same situation, as, if Pain were to do, like, a giant almighty push that was, like, island level, Jiraiya could escape it with his reverse summoning with his frauds. So same thing applies here with the planetary devastation. If Pain were to try that, and he would have no way to really know if Jiraiya escaped or not. And once planetary devastation is done, Jiraiya could just simply just come out of his fraud and the fight would resume, similar to what happened with Naruto breaking out of it with his Nine Tails. And once Pain did that, like I said, if this is going to be a similar scenario to what happened in the Naruto fight, Pain was so drained after that that he eventually was able to do like his almighty push one last time. I think he used it like 2 more times after that. And he was so fatigued that in those 5 seconds Naruto was able to tag him with a Rasengan in base. So we have to remember that this isn't Naruto using Sage Mode. He lost his Sage Mode after the 2 Resin Shurikens that he threw at Pain. And Naruto in base one-shotted the Deva Path. And this matters because in order to say that Jiraiya could not land this hit and take out the Deva Path, you would have to argue that Naruto in base is way stronger than Sannin level Jiraiya, and I do not buy that. It's stated clearly in the manga that Naruto needed Sage Mode in order to beat Pain. And, you know, this is coming from Jiraiya's master, the Toad Sage. These names like Fukasaku or something like that. And he basically is the one that said that, so you can say if you want to put weight to his statement or not. But he saw how Jiraiya did against Pain, and he acknowledged that Naruto needed Sage Mode in order to even go up against Pain. And he saw how well Jiraiya did against Pain and how many Pains he was able to take out by himself while getting the information, while learning how Pain fought. Whereas, you know, having to learn the information is way harder than having the information given to you and then going into the fight. So, with all this being said, like I said, you would have to argue that Naruto in base is stronger than Sannin level Jiraiya, and I don't buy it. And you would even have to argue he's stronger in base than Sage Mode Jiraiya, which is crazy that you think a Sannin, even if it wasn't a perfect Sage Mode, would be weaker than a base Naruto. That's just crazy, especially when you look at everything in the story and all the context. Naruto was being pushed to have to reach a new level, and he reached it with Sage Mode, not in his base. At least that's what the story is kind of implying. Maybe you're going to look at it a different way. I don't. I look at it that Naruto needs Sage Mode, and when he is in Sage Mode, he has surpassed Jiraiya, but not in base. So Jiraiya, if he were to land a hit by using tricks, by knowing the abilities and how they work, which is very possibly just Naruto pulled it off, someone that has way less experience in battle, and was able to take out someone like Pain, despite if you want to say that Pain won the fight and Naruto used his Nine Tails and got out of it, that is true. But we also have to look at how close Naruto got to beating Pain. He got him all the way down to his final body, his final Pain body, and Jiraiya, if in that situation, might not fall for the same things Naruto did, especially since he wouldn't have insisted on the frauds being away from him because he needs them on him to use Sage Mode. So Fukasaku probably would not have been pulled in by Pain like he did, because Pain was using Naruto's like emotions to basically try to win that fight and get him in some bad situations, and he would not be able to do that on Jiraiya because he knows how Jiraiya works, and knew that Jiraiya was going to try killing him and bringing peace to the world, basically to the ninja world. So it would not happen in the same way, and there's a huge chance that Pain's not even going to use the chakra rods against Jiraiya. But even if he did, we've seen in Naruto itself in the war that you can blast away chakra rods with things like Amaterasu, or like the Amaterasu arrow that Sasuke used whenever Obito's turned to the Ten-Tailed Shinchuriki and all that. We have that scene that shows that you can hit chakra rods and knock them away and stuff like that. So be it if Pain were to throw the rods or even try to tag Jiraiya in hand-to-hand with the rods, I don't see that happening, especially if Jiraiya is in imperfect Sage Mode. He's still really strong, and I'm pretty sure above Pain in physical combat. And yeah, and we're clearly talking about Kishimoto's original work. I think there's a scene in the anime where Jiraiya punches Pain in base, the Deva Path, and he like grabs it or something, then throws Jiraiya, and then the Oshra Path basically like tries hitting him with all these like missiles and rockets and stuff. But I believe that's only the enemy. And Jiraiya was in base, not Sage mode, when the Devil Path grabbed his fist like that, his punch like that. So we have to keep that in mind. So when it comes to his physical strength, Jiraiya, even in an imperfect Sage, was shown to, I believe, one shot one of the pains with a kick, and he wasn't even like prepared for it. He basically just did it on the fly. Basically, like had to react instantly because the path was already on him. It just one shot it. Unlike Naruto, where he was literally running at him while the path was running at him, the Predator path, and then he one shot it by hitting it with Sage mode, like Fraud Fu. I believe it's called like Fraud Fu or something, and hit him without touching him, using the Sage Jutsu, and basically just hit him with nature energy. And really cool scene. But Jiraiya actually full on made contact with the pain that he hit, and he like one shotted it. So I believe that he could do something similar to the Deva path. If it were to come to that, kind of similar to what Naruto did when he started throwing hands with the Deva path during his fight. Now granted, that did not take out pain, but again, that is a matter of how you think the fight would go, if they're going to keep going hand in hand. Because at the end of the day, Naruto used a Rasengan to defeat the Deva Path, a very basic jutsu. It was not Naruto's greatest technique at the time, the Rasen Shuriken that did in the Deva Path, but it was the basic Rasengan that Jiraiya taught him. And I think that's very smart on Kishi. I think Kishi did that on purpose to show it in a way that Naruto had became as strong as his master, or even surpassed him. And I'm pretty sure he surpassed him at that point. But Jiraiya should be able to do a similar feat and defeat the Deva Path, as we see that Naruto in base was able to do this. So, like I said, only way to argue it, so you have to argue that Naruto in base is stronger than a Sanin Sage mode Jiraiya, and that's just, I cannot believe that. And the Jiraiya downplay needs to stop already, because we're seeing a lot of it throughout the years. And I finally decided to make a video about it, since I'm doing some Naruto related videos of the versus battles, and doing other stuff as well. I thought I would bring this video out and just rep for my boy Jiraiya. But yeah, so overall, this was my thoughts on why I think Jiraiya could beat all the pains, all the six passive pains, had he had the information that Naruto had, all the information about what the pains do, their abilities, their strategies that they might use. And this isn't even taking into account if he had Katsuyu with him, giving him like all these like things, just talking to him and that, maybe even like helping him with healing or stuff like that. We're just seeing Jiraiya in Sage mode with the two Toad Sages with them, fighting against all six passive pain the same way Naruto did. If he would be able to win, and I believe at the end of the day, Jiraiya would take the battle 100%, and I believe Kishimoto winning had Pain say that. Kishimoto, the writer of the story, wrote that in there for Pain to say that if Jiraiya knew all their secrets, he would have lost, that Jiraiya would have won. And I believe that that's 100% true. And when you go back and you look at that fight and look at how well Jiraiya did, had it not been for the reviving abilities of those two pains, then Jiraiya probably could have took the fight. Because I really put Jiraiya in a bad situation, because it was 6 on 3 basically, and he had already used a lot of chakra taking those pains out, and he thought it was going to be a permanent taking out of those pains, and then they got revived. And he got sneak attacked, which took off one of his arms. It definitely put him in a lot of pain and damaged his chakra probably. It's very possible his chakra got damaged as well, and put him in a bad situation. Anyone would have been in an almost no-win situation at that point, getting sneak attacked like that, as well as using so much of your chakra already, and still having to figure out the rest of their abilities of the other passive pain. So, I believe Jiraiya would have won. Leave a comment down below. What is your thoughts on, do you think Jiraiya is heavily downplayed in the versus power skill community, the Naruto power skill community? I guess technically Naruto / Boruto, since people power skill Boruto as well. Because I do think that Jiraiya is very underrated, and I think that, Jiraiya definitely could have beaten Pain. If given the right circumstances, given the circumstances that Naruto had in Sage mode, I believe Jiraiya, even in his imperfect Sage mode, with the help of the two Toad Sages, would have won the fight if they were to have fought, with everything being 100% fair, and both of them knowing each other's abilities. Like Pain said, I believe Jiraiya would have won the fight at the end of the day. And yeah, so now that we went through all of that, guys, leave a comment down below. What is your thoughts on this fight? Do you think Jiraiya would have won? As Kishimoto had Pain say, if Jiraiya knew all of Pain's secrets, would Pain have lost? And Jiraiya, would he have won? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Also, if you're a fan of this video, I also do 2 different series. I'm doing Naruto versus battles of Naruto characters fighting against each other, but I'm also doing my more main thing, which is comic book characters versus the Naruto verse, basically Naruto characters. That's what I really like doing on this channel, but occasionally I will talk about Naruto versus battles because I think I have some pretty interesting takes, very unique takes, and I don't really see these takes on the YouTubes, so I decided why not put my take out there. Maybe people will agree with it, maybe you won't. It's all fun, it's just for fun, power scaling is not that serious. We're all gonna have different opinions on who we think would win a fight, but I thought I would put my arguments out on the YouTubes for people that might agree, and I want to hear from you guys. And what scenario do you think Jiraiya could take the fight? Do you agree with my analysis? Like I said, going through the fight before I did this video and recorded it, I did read through the fight to get all the scans and to try and just see how the fight went, and it's just it's an amazing fight when you go through it, and Jiraiya did a lot better than what I remembered. I feel like a lot more people should go back and rewatch or reread the fight and see how well Jiraiya actually did, because there's a lot of factors on why Jiraiya lost. It wasn't a fact of just being overpowered or, he wasn't fast enough and stuff like that. There was legitimate reasons why Jiraiya could not win, and a lot of that stuff would not be a factor had he known all of what Pain could do and all different paths and what they could do. He could have had countermeasures to defeat them. He easily almost won the battle, despite having to figure everything out. So I do encourage you, go reread the fight, go rewatch it. If you watch anime, go rewatch the Naruto anime of this fight. Fantastic fight, fantastic manga fight, fantastic anime fight. Go check it out and then come back and watch my video basically and just see if you agree with it. But I do want to hear from you guys, and if you have any disagreements or you don't see things the same way, leave a comment down below. Let me know how you see this fight. If you truly believe that Jiraiya could not be Pain, let me know why. Like I said, we're not trying to be toxic here. I'm not going to delete comments or anything like that if you disagree with me. I just want to have a discussion. That's what this channel is for, and that's why we do the power scale videos on this channel, is to have fun, basically talk about comic books, talk about Naruto, characters, how they power scale, or how they scale, and just, to have a discussion with each other and have fun. Like, the point of the channel and these videos is not for me to tell you that, like, I'm right, you're wrong, you're stupid for having a different opinion. At the end of the day, this is a manga. Naruto is just a manga. It's just something for us to enjoy. But people like me that do like power scaling, do like talking about the feats and the stuff these characters can do, who would win in a fight, it's just very fun to talk about and have a discussion about with you guys. So, like I said, hopefully no one's toxic in the comment section. Hopefully we can enjoy ourselves and have some fun. And like I said, subscribe, because we're going to be doing more of these on the channel. I'm probably going to have some controversial versus battle takes regarding the Naruto franchise. So if you're into controversial takes, make sure you subscribe. You're not going to get this on other power scaling channels for Naruto, guarantee it. Because we're going to have some interesting discussions, and there's definitely going to be some controversial opinions on this channel. And yeah, also, before I end the video, if you're new to the channel, my main thing on the channel, other than versus battles and power scales, is I review American comic book trade paperbacks / volume reviews. So if you're into comics, or maybe you're not into comics and have wondered about getting into comics, I suggest you subscribe to the channel, as it's a good place to check out some stuff that I'm reading. And I'm putting here on the channel my thoughts and going through different comic book runs, and might give you an idea of some stuff you might want to read and check out. So with that being said, guys, until next video, God bless you, and until the next lesson, keep on reading those comics.